Yo. So just want to give y'all an update on the 240Z, which you can see behind me, and what's been done as of lately. So let's go ahead and get started into it. All right. As you can see, there are no more of the previous transmission mounts in the engine bay. So if you could see, if I can point someone right there, and right there, they used to be right over there. So if you're trying to do an engine swap or anything like that, put in a new transmission that's not OEM, I recommend you cut both of these things out. So they look like this, and they go in the engine bay. They're on the side, and so they connected the previous transmission using these things. But every time I tried getting it in, I looked it up, didn't really see too much about it when you fit in the RB25 trans in, but it used to hits on this right there. So every time you try and put it in, it'll hit right there. Don't mean to hit it too hard. And so I recommend you cut these out prior, and it'll save you a lot of time, which I'm not sure too many people know, or maybe everyone knows about it and I just figured it out late. Yeah. Another thing that I got was these rails that go on the bottom of it to kind of protect the bottom of it. So I know sometimes when you're putting it on a lift or something like that, people will damage the frame rails by doing that. So I got these just to protect it for in the future. Bolt these up. So I put one side on, just need to do the other side. They look good. I was like, why not? And they weren't too expensive. So bending these, which I did, are a mofo. They look better, but not as easy as you necessarily want them. And they take a lot of time. But mine, at the edge, I flared it. Let me see if I get a good angle right there. Did an okay job, but it was still leaking on some of them. So I decided to take them all out and did the braided lines instead. So should have did that from the start, save a lot of time and money. But is what it is, you live and learn. And another thing, got the suspension in, just need to fine tune it. So as you can see right here, it doesn't really match up. And right here as well, there's a gap. So I do have these to fit in there. Like so, that's how he recommended it for the Apex suspension. But it's still not necessarily line up. So I have to play with it a little bit more. Really haven't been focusing on it since I got it in. So it's just kind of been there. And I guess later on, once I put the motor back in, then I'll adjust it and play around with it and do whatever I can to get it right and see what I need to do. So maybe I'll fabricate this again to make it fit if I have to. And I really want to redo these in terms of creating a cool 3D printed design and put it in the car. Or I'll just use these, who knows. And so up next, I'm going to, which I mentioned, put the motor in. I have everything for it. So I have the wiring harness, all the oil lines. Need to put in the oil accumulator. Gonna do that a little bit later once the lines come in. Put on the belt, which I have already. Need to order all the sensors, which I forgot to do, which I need to do that. Up next, I need to figure out where I'm gonna put this thing for the wiring harness. So that might have to wait, but I'm thinking, look how good that thing is gonna look with everything else. So I'm thinking somewhere in the bottom or in that corner and just mount everything. But I'm thinking I'll put the motor in first and then decide where I put this. I really hate to cut into the firewall since I welded up the previous one. But you gotta do what you gotta do, but that does look good. I think it'll flow really well with everything else in here. So I do have the Wiring Specialties harness. Oh man, this thing will save you some time and well worth the money. And it has everything labeled on here, just ready to go. So you just plug and play. When the motor was in the car, I connected all this up and took it all off. And it took me probably 5-10 minutes at max. Look at that, wearing gloves. But It's real quick, and I highly recommend spending the extra money just to get it. I mean, if you're gonna go through and rebuild a car, then you might as well. So I do have the radiator. I forgot about that. So got my fans, got this anodized, and I did put I should cover that up, AN fitting on here as well. So what they did was they moved it, because this is the one that you normally put champion fan for the 240Z, and normally the fitting's on this side. So we welded that, smoothed it out, which you can see, and put the fitting on this side because I'm putting an RB25 motor in, and just to make it more convenient. As you can tell by the previous one, here's the old one. So you can see the fittings on the opposite side, down there too. It's not AN, but it's the same exact one. Just cut that, sealed it up, welded it down, and moved it to this side. Because on the 240Z and all the L series motors, everything is on this side. Just how they make it. And it just makes it more convenient for the RB to put it on that side, unless you want to route it. You can do it any way you want to do it, but just a pro tip if you want to switch it up. But as you can tell, when it comes, did the fender flare molded that on. Other fender flare molded on as well. Spoiler molded on as well. So not focusing on the bodywork right now. Did bed line the inside of the car as well, which you can probably tell if it focus. So painted the engine bay, looks all good and everything. So just need to do bodywork on the outside of the car, which you can tell a little bit more to finish up. But you can see the fender flares already just molded on there, instead of everyone that just rivets it in there. Boom, boom, boom. Good look, but wanted to do something a little bit different. Wanted to look somewhat OEM. Wanted you to second glance at it and be like, oh, yo, that is not OEM. That's not how it came. Kind of the look that I'm going for. OEM plus on steroids. So make sure you tune into the next video when I put the motor back in, and then from there, after putting the motor back in, we'll wire everything back up and then try, and it'll be a rush to get everything started by, let's say, December 31st. That is the goal. December 31st, I will have everything in and started. That is the goal. Remember that date, December 31st. After Christmas, everything will be in here and started. I didn't say run, started. Hold me to it. Peace.